Good morning once again, and welcome to this Monday morning with Moloy. It's been a wonderful 1 week that I had since the time we last spoke on the previous Monday. Had that opportunity of hosting one of the most exciting panel discussions in Kolkata with very successful business entrepreneurs. And the energy in that hall, in that room, in the venue, in spite of glitches like electricity failures, unfortunately, nothing that the organizers could do, was palpable. Entrepreneurship in this country, ladies and gentlemen, is rocking. People who are in the first gen, second gen, third gen are now looking at opportunities on scaling up. So today morning I had that very interesting conversations regarding growth and scale up. So growth is not equal to scale up. We are all wanting to grow, but the question is, how do we scale up? Startups met a couple of very interesting people in the startup phase. Somebody who's creating disposable paper bags out of the elements that come out after mushroom cultivation. And you get the bag with that material, you prepare the bag with that material, and that bag can now be reused as a fertilizer. Amazing thought processes. People are talking in terms of how can you bring in products which make this planet sustainable. Youngsters today talking about that. How do you bring in products which are focused on the health? Amazing last couple of days in Kolkata. So today morning I thought that last week we had spoken about the habits of successful entrepreneurs, about why some people are more successful than others. In today's session, I thought that let's take that one step further and say, why are some entrepreneurs great at identifying business opportunities and ideas? What makes them different from others? The reason why so many people are interested in pursuing business opportunities, because for the simple reason, they want to achieve wealth, they want to achieve success, and they want to do something of significance. Like me, I gave up my professional career 23 years, after professional career of 23 years, to do something that is of significance to me. And when we are looking at making that transition, there are so many business opportunities that entrepreneurs are regularly faced with. Something that we want to do, which is kind of our calling. We want to be our own boss, get a sense of accomplishment, get a satisfying feeling of fulfillment. And this evaluation of opportunities could include right from starting a new business to expanding the current business or investing in somebody else's business. Because if I have money and I don't want to do things with hands-on, I would rather identify a great business and take it forward. The opportunity could also be in terms of buying existing businesses that are currently for sale. Somebody not doing well. It could be a distressed sell. It could be somebody who's just not interested in that business, or a business which was not doing well. It could be something like inventing a new product or service that could be of great demand. So the opportunities are humongous. Challenge that comes up is, how do you identify the right opportunities? According to some recent data, 20% businesses fail in the first year, and about 50% of the businesses fail within the 50th. So if I put in my energy, time, money, etc., especially after giving up a great career, I run the risk of being that one out of every 2 people whose businesses could fail in the first 5 years. So hence it becomes extremely crucial to analyze the business opportunities instead of jumping right in. Today I'm going to share some tips, not the entire set of things that I do with my clients, but some tips. So please watch right till the end. If you can't watch, send us a text message and we'll send you a recording. But please don't get into a business without knowing these very steps. The first thing about identifying or evaluating a business opportunity is asking the right questions. Have I covered all those questions? When I look at a business opportunity, do I see through a rose-colored glass and assume it's a great idea? Or am I ready to ask myself these hard questions? Ask yourself, yes, when an opportunity comes in front of us, it is rosy, it is attractive. But ask these questions. Am I ready to tolerate something that goes all wrong? Nothing works out right. Nothing that I thought would happen ever happened. What is the downside? Have I been able to do a proper risk management? And what are the risks? And what are your risk mitigation strategies? We were all hunky-dory in the month of January. But then the Ukraine war came up. So there will be unforeseen crises that will come up. And like I've said in one of my sessions, there are only 3 phases of life. Or as an entrepreneur, either you're getting into a crisis, or you are in a crisis, or you're getting out of a crisis. So have I done my entire risk management, risk assessment, identified all my risks, and looked at my risk mitigation strategies? And on top of it, do I know how much it will cost me to run the business along with the risks? Have I been able to do some kind of financial planning? If I've done some kind of financial planning, because I've seen a lot of people, in fact, one gentleman the other day mentioned to me, I have 1.8 crores with me, I can buy a land in Kolkata and I want to start a resort. But 1.8 crore is not enough. I need additional investors. So can you find me additional investors? When I asked him, do you have a basic business plan? Do you have a financial feasibility? Do you have a market feasibility? His face was to be seen. He has nothing of that sort. So why would an investor want to put in money without these basic informations? Once you have done the financial planning, basic financial planning, ask yourself, do I have the funds to start this business? If things don't go right, and if things go wrong, how much money could I lose? And ask this question again, very important, which I ask all my business owners: what is your stop loss? Could I live with losing a certain amount of money, and how much of that money it will be? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not telling you at all, I am not suggesting at all that we should not take risks, but a calculated risks, knowing my downside, knowing my stop losses is extremely critical, because many businesses that I have seen have turned themselves into a bottomless pit. They keep on dumping money and without seeing any return. They feel that the next tranche of cash that they bring into the system can bring in the returns, but without these analysis, you will not be able to do it. So that's the first level of questions that you need to ask yourself. Then ask yourself, is there sufficient market demand for the product? How much time will it take me on getting my return on investment? What is my payback periods? When do I break even? If that answer is that you may not see a profit in 3 to 5 years, then ask yourself, are you okay with that? There are businesses which are okay with that. And there are businesses which take 7-year gestation period. But knowing that it will take 7 years to recover that money is important. A startup, when it comes to me, I ask these fundamental questions. Do you have money to sustain your family and invest in your basic business for the next 1,000 days? If you have the money to sustain yourself, you and your family, with your basic expenditure, and do some investments in the business for the next 1,000 days, it's a great starting point. But if you're looking at the business to generate cash in the first 6 months to feed your family, then we are in the wrong place. It's very important to evaluate business opportunity by looking at that opportunity from the other perspectives and not from a tunnel vision. Ask yourself, what all do I know and what all do I not know, and what are the things that I need to. That brings us to the second part, that is your ability to have critical thinking skills. It is said that a business is an intellectual sport. If you're evaluating a new business opportunity, whether it's a scale up, whether it is investing in a new property, whether it is buying somebody else's property or starting new, you must set yourself some time to think about that business. Whether you do the business thinking in a quiet home or office, or whether you're just sitting on the pot and thinking about it, or whether you're all alone thinking about it, or you're just standing or you're sitting by the sea and watching the waves and staring at the waves and looking at it and thinking, you need to invest in a thinking. Your thinking cannot be done in the midst of other clutter and other distractions. You have to be with peace. You have to be at peace with yourself, and you need to just set aside that time and think. And if you're finding it difficult to sit in one place and think about the business, you can't think about your business for the next 30 minutes. Whenever you give yourself that time, the 30 minutes could be morning, evening, day, whatever. If you're finding it difficult, my humble submission is start meditating first. Get into that mode of meditation. Get into that mode of peaceful thinking. However, your thinking is not good enough. It has to be critical thinking. It has to be that ability to analyze the information objectively and without bias. A critical thinker would look at all the research findings, the industry data, the facts, run the numbers to see if the idea makes sense financially. A critical thinker, while we business owners, we entrepreneurs are all very, very passionate and we think with our heart. If our heart is not in the right place, then certainly we cannot do our businesses. But a critical thinker are good at evaluating business ideas from logical and fact-based standpoint, rather than only being emotional about it. The third piece, conduct market research. If you can't invest in a market research company, you do it yourself. But don't jump into the sea without standing near the shore and allowing your feet to touch the water. It is important, it is very crucial to do detailed market survey. Is there enough demand? How big or small the market is? Are you aware of what competition is doing? Is the market already oversaturated with similar businesses? Are there tons of competition? Do you think you can compete? What will be your USP? What's the kind of organization structure will be required? Everything should come as piece of your market research. Just talking to a gentleman on the Saturday, the third gen owner of one of the largest pharma companies in Kolkata. And he mentioned to me, Moloy, we have grown in the last 12 months. But our growth has been in those sectors which themselves are degrowing, and competitions are moving away from that sector. So if we continue to grow in that sector, in a sector which is not growing, then we are truly not growing. In our new age products, where we see a longer horizon, there the growth is negative, which means our competitors are one up than ourselves. So while the financial numbers say a story, the actual reality tells another story. And this is where truly appreciate the gentleman who had the guts to stand up and say, my financial numbers are not a true reflection of how the organization is. And this has happened only because he went out into the market, did a great deal of market research, and figured out where is he doing well and where is he not doing well. Fourth, financial assessment. Is there a less expensive opportunity to consider, especially if you're in startup or you're entering into a new business line? Think about it. That should I go full hog initially Or is there a easier, not easier, wrong choice of word, is there a less expensive opportunity to consider? Imagine you're evaluating the restaurant industry because you love food, and all of us love food. Let's say that you're thinking about opening a restaurant, but you know it will be expensive. Restaurant business is not cheap. You have to think about the cost of real estate, the labor, the cost of food, staff, the marketing, the perishability of the product. Think about how much it will cost you to open and run a restaurant. Once you realize that there is an expensive initial investment and it will take you minimum 5 to 7 years to get back your investment, go back into critical thinking, which we spoke in level 2. That is there a less expensive business opportunity in this industry? Do I need to go full hog? Can I start selling some food related products? If you're thinking of an Indian restaurant, could you start with selling a product itself? Could you start considering selling the Indian cooking sauces, the masalas, the other stuff, the packaged foods? Is there an easier, inexpensive opportunity of getting into that market to get a foothold? If not, and you still want to be in the business, and you're ready to bring in the initial investment, and you know the numbers, and you know it's going to take you 5 to 7 years, go for it. But whatever we are doing, let us all do things consciously. Finally, before we come to the end, what skills do you need to learn in order to be a success? We just don't get into any business for the sake of money. Business requires skills. If you're in a business and you don't understand the business, you will certainly hire people, but who will give the direction? Who will give the strategic direction? So when evaluating a business opportunity, you should evaluate whether you possess the crucial skills or whether you could acquire them. This could be simple things like sales and marketing, industry, product knowledge, the business processes. It could be anything. If you don't possess some of these skills, how much time are you willing to invest in acquiring the skills? Will it make sense to get in a co-founder who has a skill set that you don't have? Evaluating whether or not you have the right skills needed for the business plan to work is called that self-analysis, the self-introspection that every single business owner needs to go through in the critical thinking process. Finally, once you've identified all these, and if you lack the required knowledge or skills, first things first, invest in yourself. You should not be ready to pursue certain business opportunities if you lack the required knowledge. You must invest in yourself by learning the things that you need to know. Only then your business will be a success, a true success. Lots of people come to me asking this question, sir, what business should I get into? I said, you can get into any business provided you know the basics of that business. There's enough and more money in this world, ladies and gentlemen, to make. But to ensure that some of the money sticks into our hands, we should know the nuances of the business. And it's a day in and day out job. I use this power, which I call the power of 144. Every individual, especially if you're a business owner, you should be looking at investing 30 minutes a day, 25 days in a month, 12 months in a year, gives you 144 hours into learning something new that would help you in your business. If you don't have the basic skills, invest that 144 hours first before you jump into the business. Remember the famous quote from a very famous person, Mr. Jim Rohn, the late Mr. Jim Rohn. He said, never wish your life was easier, wish you were better. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Ladies and gentlemen, this world offers humongous, fabulous opportunities. It is up to us to make use of those opportunities and make it a success. Follow these 5 steps before you jump into any business idea, and you will be part of that group which is a truly successful business owner or entrepreneur. Thank you so much for being with me today. Till next week, same place, same time. A very good morning and wish you an extremely, extremely profitable week. Bye for now.